Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. I hope you're doing well, and if you're not, I hope you are soon. Okay, today on the Dungeon Dive, we are going to take a look at the preview copy of some expansion material coming out for League of Dungeoneers. And as some of you may be aware, and others may not be aware, Michael, the designer of League of Dungeoneers, has recently announced that there will be a second printing. I'm not quite sure on the details or when that will hit crowdfunding, but there will be a second printing and there will be a bigger box expansion. And these items here, Michael sent to me as kind of a preview of some of the things that you will see in the expansion. So two of my main criticisms of League of Dungeoneers was one, the lack of art on the cards, and two, the lack of events that could happen in the dungeon. And both of those things are being addressed. And I'm super happy to show you some of these things in this new expansion. So let's take a look at the events first, because as longtime viewers of the Dungeon Dive will know, I love random events. I love random events with cards, and especially when those cards have cool art. So there is going to be a whole bunch of new random events to encounter as you are exploring the dungeons. And I think this is only a subset of the new deck of event cards. So there will be even more. And not only are there more, but they all have super cool art now. This, I think, really does elevate League of Dungeoneers. It was a game that I already really do love. And now this just makes it even cooler. But we have things like intoxicating mist. The air in the room has a strange smell and hurts the throats of the heroes. For every turn a hero ends in the room, he or she takes 1 damage. Armor and natural armor does not help. Enemies are unaffected. So these are prototypes. So some of the language will change. Some of the rules might change. And some of the cards actually do not have the art yet. This is not a creature called 79 by 24, although that would be kind of cool if maybe we found out that the League of Dungeoneers was actually in some kind of weird Tron-like computer world or something. But we have a whole bunch of new things here. Wailing sound, parchment on the wall, a lit torch, scattered cloaks. Man, this art is great. I love the size of these cards. They're big, chunky, kind of even larger than tarot cards. Yeah, super, super cool. I can't wait to see how this gets expanded even more. This should add all kinds of cool things to discover in the dungeon, making each dive into each dungeon all the more memorable and exciting and random. And that is something that I love. And then also now we do have some new legendary items, a whole bunch of new legendary items. So this part of the expansion also adds a whole bunch of cool magic things to find. And that was one of the other things. There was kind of a lack of bespoke, of unique magical items, but now we have a whole bunch more to find. And each one of these also has art. So we have things like the Cape of the Troll, the Giant Slayer, the Genie's Bag of Ingredients, the Shield of Blinding Light, the Demon Slayer, the Sword of Lightning, the Legendary Elixir, Priestly Dice, Gauntlets of Hafner, the Belt of Copperbane, the Vial of Never Ending, the Horn of Elfheim, the Stone of Valhir, the Glowstone, a Life Stone, the Socks of Perpetual Comfort. Oh my God, I would do just about anything to have Socks of Perpetual Comfort in real life. I love comfy socks. Yeah, let's make that happen. That's what we should be spending our money on as a society. But not only will you get a whole bunch of new cards with art and all the rules for these new legendary items, but there is a book that you will get that will have lore and story elements, fiction about each one of those items. Let's find the Socks of Legendary Comfort. What were those called? QRS. These Socks of Perpetual Comfort. At first, these may seem to be just an ordinary pair of socks, but that couldn't be further from the truth. These socks were created by Maximilian Skulls, one of the battle wizards enlisted in the Royal Army some 300 years ago. His unit was more often than not marching from one place to another, often through all kinds of wet and soggy terrain. The constant nagging from the unit's commander that everyone should change their socks as soon as there was a break began to drive Skulls nuts. That made him come up with the brilliant idea of weaving a pair of magic socks that would remain dry no matter what. The socks in themselves were a tremendous success, and perhaps the most genius item that he ever created. However, they did nothing to prevent Maximilian from losing his head to a goblin scimitar shortly after. The socks may have been snatched by that very same goblin or by someone else, and they survived long enough after Maximilian's passing. These socks will give the wearer a +1 energy that is added to the hero's max energy. I love that little piece of lore. That is so fun. But yeah, so each of the items in the deck of cards will have a little story involved with it. And you will learn a little bit of lore about the world, because that was also another thing that was kind of missing was some detailed lore to make the world feel unique. And I think that this little module of the expansion will also work to alleviate that problem. So I am really looking forward to seeing the kind of things that are coming out in the expansion. And of course, having a second edition of the rulebook to address some of the errors that were found in the original rulebook. I might be hired as an editor. I'm not sure yet. Michael does want me to at least take a look at the books and kind of proofread some of the English, perhaps make some of the text read better. I'm not sure how much time I'm going to be spending on that if I have a lot of time. I don't have a ton of time to devote to that kind of thing in addition to what I'm already doing at the Dungeon Dive, but I will try to offer up Michael some help if he wants it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this just really quick look at the preview, some preview material, some preview components from the upcoming League of Dungeoneers reprint and expansion, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.